Hello everyone, and let's continue our discussion on the expression of interest. In my last presentation, I took you through the expression of interest process. I tried to explain the flow chart of how the expression of interest system works. So expression of interest, as a quick recap, is a new system introduced by Alberta in the last year, and it has been following that system ever since. So in this particular video or presentation, I will take you through the breakdown of the expression of interest system. So I will from time to time refer to the official documentation. So expression of interest points grid explain how a worker gets assigned up to a maximum of 100 points when they create an expression of interest. So very interesting. Let's look into the breakdown of each, how those 100 points are composed of. Let's zoom in a bit and let's start here. So creation of expression of interest, as I said, you can get up to a maximum of 100 points. This 100 point is broken down into two broad factors: human capital factor, which gives you up to 69 points, and economic factors, which gives you a maximum of 31 points. How I have prepared this whiteboard is, under each of the factor, I have explained or marked the maximum point you can score. And as I said, from time to time, I will refer to the official documentation for any kind of details. So in this particular presentation, I will cover only the breakdown of the expression of interest point system. If you want to understand how expression of interest works, please refer to my earlier video in this series, the part 1 of this series. And in this part 2, I will cover the basics of the points so that you can understand how you are getting the score that you are getting. Okay, so each application that happens, each expression of interest that happens will get assigned a score instantly. So as I was saying, 69 points for human capital factor and 31 points for economic factor. Human capital have 6 subdivisions. There is one section for your education qualifications. There is one section for your language proficiency. There is a section for work experience, your age, and then if you have a family in Alberta or not. So as you can see, this all relates to your personal exposure. So let's go into the ECA. So ECA, or your education qualification assessment, will have 2 factors. So if you have, so one factor is based on your highest education. So no matter in which country you have taken your education, your highest education gets awarded up to a maximum of 12 points. So for example, again, let's go back to the official documentation. If you have done a master's, you get 10 points. If you have done a bachelor's, you get 7 points. This first factor, which allows or assigns you 12 points, doesn't look at the location. So this could be completed anywhere in the world. Next, on top of it, if your highest education is also from Canada, you get a maximum of 10 more points. Why do I say a maximum of 10 more points? Because you could have done your education from outside Alberta or within Alberta. If you have done your education in Alberta, you get 10 points. If you have done your education outside Alberta but within Canada, you get 6 points. Very interesting point is here. There is a lot of confusion in a lot of people on this. So let's spend some time of this presentation on this particular factor. Say for example, I have done my master's in India. So I get 10 points. Now, if after doing my master's in India, I come here to Canada and say do a certificate course, right, in Canada, that is not my highest education, and I will get no points for my Canadian education. Okay. Again, say for example, I did my bachelor's in India and I came and did my master's in Canada, then I will get either 6 on 10 points based on the location of my education. So if I did it in Alberta, I will get 10 points. If I did outside Alberta, say Ontario, BC, I will get 6 points. Okay. One clarification, I think this I covered in one of my earlier videos also. There is a nuance here, is that if you are doing any education in Canada for which any of these degrees are a prerequisite. For example, you did a diploma course, say you did a diploma course in Canada. And for that diploma course, a bachelor's degree was the requirement, was the minimum requirement. Then you can say that you have done your bachelor's in Canada, and then you can claim points for your Canadian education. Only and only if the entry requirement for that degree or that diploma is a higher degree, only then you can claim the points for those degrees that you have earned in Canada. So say for example, you did a master's in Canada. So for master's, obviously bachelor's is the entry criteria. So since you have done your master's in Canada, you can claim your master's as your highest education, right? So even though two degrees could be at the same level, say for example, you did a bachelor's degree in Canada, and for that bachelor's degree, a bachelor's degree was a requirement. So then you can claim that your highest degree is a bachelor's degree which was obtained in Canada, and then you can claim either 10 or 6 points based on that. So many people have this confusion. Hey, I have done my bachelor's, then I came and did a diploma. Do I get 6 points or 10 points? You will get only 6 points and 10 points if for that diploma your bachelor's was a prerequisite, right? So be very clear. Don't get fooled with education or immigration consultants who said go and do diploma, you will get 10 points. It doesn't work like that. It depends on the nuance and the detail of that particular diploma or degree. So make sure you read the documentation before jumping on it. So that's the 22 points you can get on your education alone based on your profile. So if you have done your, say again, if you have done your master's in Alberta, you get 20 points. If you have done your PhD, a doctorate degree in Alberta, you get a maximum of 22 points. So that's how you get awarded 22 points for education. Next comes your language proficiency or CLB. Here CLB, if you get more than 6 in any language, you get 10. Plus, if you are bilingual and if you have the proof to say that in both languages, English and French, you have a CLB of more than 4, more than or equal to 4, you get 3 additional points. So let's look into here. So here you get a maximum of 13 points for language, and then based on this table, you will get a maximum of 10. So say for example, you have 5 in both the languages, right? So you will get 8 for English and 3 for your bilingual. Depends, even if you provide 2 CLBs, you will get the highest point, be it in English or be it in French. So for example, you get 5 in both, right? Or you get 5 in English, so you get 4 in English and 8 in French. So you will get awarded 8 points. Similar to that. So say for example, you got 10 in English and 3 in French. You still qualify because it's 4 are equal, but you will get awarded 10 points. So there are 2 parts to it. Language proficiency, highest of the language proficiency that you will get. So here you can get up to 10 points. So if you are fluent in English, you get 10 points. But if you are as fluent in French, you get only 8 points. So English has a bit more preference, it looks like here. Plus you get 3 points if you can score 4 or more in both of the languages. If you get 3 or lower, you get no points. So that goes without saying. So here for language, you can get up to a maximum of 13 points. So 22 plus 13 is 35. So we have covered 35 points out of 69 that you can get in your EOI. Next factor relates to your work experience. You can get up to a maximum of 11 points if you have more than 1 year of experience anywhere in the world. This is exclusive of Canadian experience. If you have more than 1 year experience anywhere in the world, you get 11 points. If you have Canadian experience on top of it, you can get up to a maximum of 10 points. Let's look into the details. So if you are somebody who has more than 1 year of experience anywhere in the world, you get 11 points. Obviously, you need to provide documentation for that. And then if you have more than 6 months experience in Alberta, you get 10 points. If you have more than 6 months experience anywhere else Alberta, you get 6 points. So 10 points plus 11 points, 21 points you can score based on your experience. So say you are somebody who has worked in Alberta for 6 months, you get 10 points for that experience. And since you have worked only 6 months, you get 7 points for your total work experience. But say if you have worked more than a year, both in Alberta and your total work experience, you get 21 points out of that. So see this, so your work experience has a weightage of 21 points, which is slightly lower than your education. So your education is still has a greater weightage, but only if you have done the highest level of education like a PhD. But if you have done say only a bachelor's or a master's, then your work experience is will have more weightage. Like for example, if you have done your bachelor's in Alberta, like that kind of a scenario, you get 17 points. But if you have work experience on top of it, you can get up to 21 points if you have worked in Alberta for more than 1 year, right? So very important, very interesting. Age, this is a factor which I always say is not within our control. We cannot control or maximize this particular score, but it is what it is. This is the table for your score. You get maximum points when you are between 21 and 34 years. Even for more than 34 years, the loss is not much. It's only a single point till you are 49. So I would say this is a bracket of 13 years. This has a bracket of 14 years. So this 25 years is your prime from 21 to 49. You get pretty decent points for that. Even if you are younger or a bit older, doesn't matter. The point drop is not as significant. But guys, age is something we cannot control. So let's not worry about it. It has only 5 points. And the last factor in your human capital factor is your family. If you have a parent, a sibling, or a child in Alberta, living in Alberta, who is a citizen or a permanent resident and over 18 years of age, you get 8 points. You do not get points for your in-laws. You do not get points for your cousins. It's sibling, child, parent. So I'm sure parent doesn't mean uncle and aunts, child doesn't mean niece and nephews, and sibling doesn't mean cousins. So if you have parent, child, or siblings, you will get those 8 points up to a maximum. There is only one like tier here, which is 8 points. So maximum points is 8. If you have even one relative or 20 relatives, you get 8 points. You will have to provide documentation for that. So parent, sibling, child will get you 8 points. So that's the breakup of 69 points for human capital factor. So if you look into it, in your expression of interest, 69% will come from your personal profile, right? Only 31% comes from what is called the economic factor, which will depend on your job offer that you are coming to Alberta with. So very interesting. It has a very less weightage as compared to your profile. So I always say work on improving your profile, work on getting work experience, work on getting a good education, work on your English skills or your French skills so that you can score higher here. Like for example, let me show you here. Like a job offer gets you 10 points. I'll come to the detail of it. but a language score gets you 13 points if you are bilingual, right? So see, so something like that. Like each of the factors has more weightage than a job offer. Okay. Speaking of job offer, let's look into the next set of factors called economic factors, which is mostly driven by your job offer. It's all factors are driven by the job offer that you will present to Aaip. Understand this, job offer has now more or less become mandatory for all PNP applications. It will be very difficult to get a PNP through without a job offer. So there is a very slim chance of getting a PNP without a job offer, but let's not talk about it. Let's not put any kind of reliance on that kind of a scenario. Full-time job offer. If you have a full-time job offer, which is full-time, which is non-seasonal, you can get up to 10 points. Let's see what this up to 10 points means. So if you have a job offer to work in Alberta, you get 10 points. As simple as that. Plus, if your job offer is into a rural renewal stream, or for tourism and hospitality, or for law enforcement, you get 6 more points. Okay, so that's the job offer. That's the job offer sector. So once you land a job offer, you get 10 points, but it should be full-time and within Alberta. Doesn't matter. It should not say your job is based in Ontario and you are working remotely. No, your work offer should be for your work in Alberta. Job offer sector, if you, in addition to your job offer, if your job offer is in these 3 sectors, you get 6 more points. So 10 plus 6, 16. So say for example, you land a job in a rural community in Alberta, you get 16 points. Next, if your job offer location is not Calgary and Edmonton, you get 5 more points. So going by the last example that I gave you, if you land a full-time job offer in a rural community, obviously that means your community is outside Calgary and Edmonton. So then you get 10 points for your job offer, 6 points for your sector, and 5 points for your location. So you get 21 points out of the single job offer. You can get up to a maximum of 21 points like that. Like that's one scenario I am taking. And then if your regulated occupation, plus if you are working in a regulated occupation, if your occupation or job needs any kind of certification, any kind of registration, and if you meet those criteria, then you get another 10 points. So depending on what kind of work you are doing, what kind of associations you are associated with, you can get up to a maximum of 10 points. So this is very interesting for me, like really interesting, that your one job offer can get you up to one document can get you all of these 31 points, provided you check all the correct box. So for example, you landed a job of say electrician, which is regulated in Alberta in a rural community, obviously outside Canada, and it's a full-time job. Then that just one offer lands you 31 points. As simple as that. You don't have to worry about other criterias of this particular factor. So 31 points easily. But again, if you say got a job offer to work as a software engineer in Calgary, then you get 10 points. That's it. Because you are not regulated, your location is not outside Calgary or Edmonton, and you're not doing any of these sectors. So job offer, again, as I said in the starting of this section, is a very, very strong document, a very required document for all the applications going forward. And I would highly recommend that you pursue Alberta PNP only if you think you can get a job offer. If you cannot get a job offer, it's very difficult to pursue Alberta PNP, to be very honest. Okay, so this is what I wanted to cover in this part 2 of the expression of interest. In my next part, I will take you through how to fill the expression of interest form actually in the system. So we will log into the system, show you how to log it into the system, and then create an expression of interest there. So step by step, I already have a step-by-step instruction in my video in my channel, but take this as a refresher. Plus I have seen that there are some changes that have gone onto the portal. So when we log in, when we do the step-by-step walkthrough, we will see what are the changes, if any. Okay, so yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Reach out to me on the comments. I will try and respond to all the comments. These are the QR codes of my WhatsApp group if any one of you wants to join the conversation. And thank you for joining. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.